Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll For Bluff, our talk show where we discuss our ongoing Dungeons & Dragons campaign, Bards & Nobles. I am your host. I am Sam. I play Calmine. And to my right, we have Tristan, who plays Sorn Thunderfist. And my left, we have Brandon, our Dungeon Master. They'll be joining me as my co-hosts, as well as my co-conspirators today. We're continuing our story tonight in Rushed Realities. So, where we left off last time, the party had just gotten back from the Tower of Worms and were dropped out just shortly outside of Humbleton, where they met up with Francesca, who I believe was a Fire Ganassi Paladin. And at this point, Greg kind of starts to think, probably shouldn't have let my granddaddy take the fall for everything, and, he's kind of wondering about his family a little bit. So Greg decides that he's going to leave the party and go in a search for his family on his own. The party was a little concerned because they were like, oh, hey, man, we've got this whole deal with Fox.
Got another time crunch here.
And Greg was like, nah, you guys got it. I trust you.
You good. If I die, I die.
Yeah.
So that's Greg in a
Greg
nutshell.
decided to leave, and the rest of the party followed Francesca. She led them around more on the coastline towards Humbleton into some sewers.
It was
everyone's favorite place to be.
Now, unbeknownst
drainage out.
to the party, they were being followed by a rather sneaky individual.
A shadowy figure in the distance.
But they didn't happen to notice this individual yet.
He was real sneaky.
Yeah.
Even sneakier
so
than Cal.
They managed to get into the sewer system. They kind of stealthed their way through. Fortunately, nobody failed any sort of stealth checks, which was a plus.
All while being followed.
And Francesca led them to what appeared to be a dead end in the sewer system, but what actually turned out to be a secret entranceway for the postman.
Straight up Diagon alleyed that wall.
Right.
Or just opened it.
Yeah, sure.
So the person who had been following them, whose name is Leon, decides to kind of find another way out of the sewers, and decides to hide near the building where he believes that they have gone into. After they were greeted by the postman, they were kind of filled in on a little bit of what was happening in Humbleton. They learned that clockwork beasts and clockwork aberrations had begun attacking the town at night.
Dun dun.
And Koth, who had been Bellington's right-hand man, had kind of been corrupted by power, but wanted the townspeople of Humbleton to embrace the clockwork.
Right.
As everyone should.
Right, no.
Koth had the backing of the higher end of the
The
town.
Right,
wealthy
right.
nobles.
But on the opposing side, you have Devin, the lead guard, who saw the clockwork as a threat. And these clockwork creatures were kind of sneaking in at night and stealing people. Mostly these people were homeless vagabonds. So it was pretty much Koth and the rich side of town versus Devin and the poorer side of town.
All while the postman sat in the middle trying to figure out what
Right.
was going
So
on.
the postman agreed to help the party set up a meeting between them and Devin, so that way they can kind of discuss it furthermore. Meanwhile, Leon kind of waited to see when the party would leave, and when they eventually did leave to go meet Devin, he decided to follow after them.
Right.
Now, unfortunately for him, he was spotted by none other than yours truly. And there was a little bit of a confrontation for a brief moment, but he kind of managed to
Sweet talk his way out of it.
his way out of it.
He's just pretty much like, whatever it is, I don't got to do anything with you.
Right.
I just got my own business. And Cal was like, then keep your business out of my business.
Because you guys are using thieves' camp.
Yes.
Not at this point.
Yeah, you were. You used it twice.
Use it twice. Use it,
Yeah.
and then you use it later.
So anyway, he decided to kind of take a long way around because he was trying to go to the guard tower, which is the same place the group was trying to go, but he didn't want them to get suspicious of him.
What wicked weaves of fate I have woven.
Right. So I think initially our thoughts, I know Cal's thoughts on Leon were that this guy's sneaky.
I don't even know if Sorn was aware.
No, you were too
Yeah.
far ahead.
Yeah.
I think it was just Cal and Bilal, I think, were the only two that knew
Yes.
about it. So we kind of knew that this guy was sneaking around, had kind of been following us, and his claim was that we were suspicious, so he was suspicious of us.
Everyone's suspicious. Everyone's suspicious.
But what do you? I mean, how did Soren feel about coming back to Humbleton and finding out that they were A, kind of at a civil war with itself, and then B, being attacked by clockwork?
Well, I mean, like coming back to Humbleton, it was supposed to be a good, it's a nice place to come back to, almost like like
Home base.
Yeah, home base.
Yeah.
part of their big victory as a group. Which is why when they were trying to figure out where they wanted to go, whether it was Dramek or Humbleton or somewhere else, when he was like, oh, the postman has said it's in danger, I want to go back. So, he's like, I want to go fix stuff. Where's Devin? Devin!
Jason!
Yeah, I think most of the group, I wouldn't say that we were full out surprised that there was still clockwork and stuff going on, but it was one of those things that we didn't expect to come back to, like the town in disarray again, I think.
Right. Well, it's almost one of those things where you sit there and you go, okay, I'm not surprised there's clockwork, and you're like, all right, who was the idiot that thought, I could probably do something good with this? And it was like, oh, this backfired horribly.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be caught.
It'd be caught.
That would be caught.
From what I know about Leon's perspective, he was like, they're doing something, but also there are many more of them.
Right. Leon was on his own mission, which we will find out here
which
shortly.
we'll talk about here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So Leon took the long way around to the guard's tower, which was where his target was. And upon the party meeting with Devin, when we finally got there, we could see he looked really worn down and tired, kind of a little broken.
But he was happy to see us.
Yeah, he was happy to see us. Devin kind of explained the ongoing struggle with Koth, as well as the clockwork creatures, and he explained that he had sent for reinforcements, but they still expected them to take a couple months.
This is still medieval people with magic.
Yeah.
The Empire cannot just go, and through the portal, 100 men.
He also explained to the party that he knew that Droppelman, who was the leader of the Colosseum in Dramek, had been helping Koth. And the party kind of let him know that he was probably helping Koth because he himself had clockwork beasts. We had fought the clockwork dysplasia beasts in the Colosseum.
Right.
Coolest monster.
So that there was kind of a short exchange there, at which point Leon was spotted by some guards, but managed to convince them that he was a traveler, just kind of looking to get through the city. They escorted him to the guard tower, where he talked briefly with Devin, and that's where Cal recognized him, and they had another sort of interaction.
Thieves'
Can.
can. So, if you don't know what Thieves' Can is, Thieves' Can is pretty much when two thieves or two underhanded people say something like, mighty fine day at the bakery, and it secretly means, we're going to kill this man.
Pretty much.
Because baked goods always equates to death. Everybody knows that.
Everyone knows that. Come on.
So they had another exchange, and Devin wound up telling his other guards to escort Leon to Town Hall, where the townspeople were supposed to be meeting to discuss what their next steps should be. So, as Devin, what was it like to see the party again?
Twofold. First was, oh God, what are they going to do this time? Oh wait, how are they going to help me this time?
And so it was like one of those, like, oh crap, oh wait, oh no, good thing.
good thing. A lot of bad things have been happening. This is a good thing. So he was excited to have you guys be there so he could, catch up with you, but also see if you guys could help him, like you did last time. Especially Soren. Yeah. His good buddy Soren. He was super excited to be like...
They're besties.
Be like, yes, another puncher.
Pow!
Right. So after they finished their conversation with Devin, everybody made their way to Town Hall, where Devin was addressing the townsfolk regarding the situation.
Not many of them were left.
There wasn't a whole lot left.
About 75.
Yeah. But before he decided to address them, he pulled Leon to the side to have a private conversation with him. Now, Cal, totally not trusting Leon, decided to sneak her way after them.
What? You telling me a rogue didn't trust another rogue?
Why? I mean,
how?
Of course, all rogues just love each other.
It's honor among thieves.
Right, exactly. So she decided to kind of follow them because she didn't trust Leon. And Devin and Leon wound up going into, I believe it was a storage room.
Yep.
While Cal sort of sat outside the door and listened. And they kind of had a little bit of a conversation where I think Leon was trying to lie his way out of it. But Devin, started to turn around to go to the door, and Leon cast Detect Thoughts.
Because
Leon...
He didn't just do it for the shits and giggles.
Right, no.
Leon has a...
curse mark on his left hand that is a curse mark of morality, meaning it gives him a gift, such as Detect Thoughts, but it also is a moral compass, because he is an assassin, as the players found out. And the moral compass kind of is hard against an assassin, so he's been an assassin more towards killing evil in assassination ways.
Right,
But
so this
he
is
was
where-
hired, and this is where a little bit when they found out that he was hired by Droppelman to Devon, and curse mark started to glow and was like, "Are we sure we want to do this?" Because the curse mark didn't know Devon; it can't read thoughts on its own. So he cast detect thoughts and succeeded against Devon, and found out that Devon is just a good dude.
He's just trying to help the people.
So Devon's thoughts were something along the lines of like, oh, I know Cal's behind the door. I'm so worried about how I'm going to keep the town safe. So Leon ultimately decided that he was a good person and decided to break his contract with Droppelman and spare Devon's life. And as Devon opened the door to see Cal, he kind of made a statement along the lines of, if he was going to attack me, he would have done it by now.
To which Leon was like, wait, what?
Insinuating Devon knew.
And that's when he turns to Leon and goes, Droppelman, right? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah. So Devon kind of had an idea.
No harm, no foul. I know Leon was taken aback. He was like, "Wait, you knew?"
Yeah, Leon was probably like, "What?" Because
it's not normal that a person knows that they're the target.
Yeah. I mean, Cal was not happy to find out that Leon was trying to kill Devon. Even though Cal and Devon aren't really like buddies. She still knows he's a good guy. So
They have a mutual respect.
yeah.
And she did help save the town in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not totally heartless.
Clock heartless.
I mean, so how did you can tell me if this is asking too much from a DM question, but how did Devon know about Leon?
He may or may not have, experience with the cants.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'd almost expect it.
Being a guard, it would kind of make sense.
Dramek is a close enough town. It's not like, if someone like Soderheim was close enough to get any kind of information about to Humbleton, Dramek they were going to get some from, and, traveling and people like that. So I imagine, Droppelman's a common figurehead that was going to have information back and forth. And I imagine even at one point, Devon's like, Koth, what are you doing? Koth is like, well, Droppelman. And he was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty smart. He's pretty scrappy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
He just needs
picked
to be
up
the
on
head of the
some
guard
things.
for no reason.
Yeah.
Devon was not surprised at all that Droppelman had hired somebody to kill him. So he instructed Leon to sit with the Stormbreakers for the duration of the meeting. Kind of that way so everybody could kind of keep an eye on him.
So Leon couldn't pop up and be like, "Surprise, crossbow!"
So he started the meeting.
Next to sword.
He started the meeting by letting the town know that they kind of had two options. They could either stay or fight, or they could pack up and leave, because the situation was starting to get dangerous against the Clockwork.
Let's get dangerous.
Most of the Stormbreakers, I think, were like, "No, you should stay and fight." I'm pretty sure Cal was the only one that was like, "No, get out."
Guys, we're not
Clockwork
thinking.
bad.
Well, because I think because we were unaware of the extent of this. I mean, heck, I don't think Devon understand the full extent of the situation.
Right, I don't
either.
think
It was
anybody really did.
It was
I just
supposed to
think
be just like,
having
hey, calm
had that
down.
Clockwork heart on her, Cal was like, "Don't fuck with Clockwork." I think that was
Right.
basically the general statement.
Right.
Thing. Best thing.
So
Clockwork.
as they started having this discussion, they started to hear like giant wings beating above. So Cal rushed to the door of the town hall. Leon followed to try to escape, and then looked up, and Cal and Leon saw Keeper. But not tiny Keeper. We saw much bigger Keeper.
He wasn't tiny in the first place.
Well-
Keeper 2.0.
Right. So Cal kind of made Leon stay for a second, and told everybody else to get into the basement. So Lirin and most of the townsfolk tried to get to the basement.
And they carried people, and they're like,
Zorn and
Bilal.
Bilal tried to protect people. I believe Bilal wild shaped
Into,
was a large python.
Bear,
Yeah.
or was it a python or
Yeah.
something?
They tried to
large
protect
animal.
people.
Soren just stood in front of things.
Keeper kind of said something to Cal. Something started.
"It's good to see you again."
And then just launched a straight up attack at Town Hall.
And it wasn't a regular attack.
No.
It was a large ball of condensed necrotic and force just hit and indented and leveled a good chunk of the town.
Yeah. A lot of people died.
A lot of people died.
People that made it to the basement, people that were protected by the Stormbreakers were safe.
But anyone not.
Cal had pulled Leon under a table and kind of blocked them with it, so they were kind of safe.
Everyone took damage. Let's make
yeah,
that. Everyone
yeah.
took
Definitely-
damage.
we
It was one of those
got
things
hurt.
where if we didn't make that save, we would have been dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
And after that, Cal and Liren both started to hear that same voices in their head, in which case those ghosts of the White Talon member Cal had killed, Kikyo and Gorn, started to appear before both of them again. So Cal booked it. I don't know why. Cal just started running.
Cal failed a wisdom save and had the fear take over, and fear is a condition in D&D where you do everything you can to get away from the people that fear you.
Meanwhile,
See,
Liren,
she touched one of the ghosts. didn't she?
well, first she just kind of became unstable in the fetal position.
Yep.
And then tried to touch one of the ghosts. She reached out to Gorn and saw basically the exact moment that his soul was ripped from his body.
It was great as a DM.
I bet he got some weird, sick pleasure out of this.
Yeah.
So Cal tried to run. Devin, with his
That's
brass
right.
knuckles, hasted himself, came up behind her, knocked her out, dragged her back. Sorn saw dead bodies of children, which just
With his big soft spot for kids.
kind of crushed him, and he broke down for a moment.
Yeah, like we had like the effects of the rage without actually raging.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
because he was so
yeah.
heartbroken at seeing this.
Story flavor-wise, I like to add, just a bit of spice. And so that was a good spice moment.
So Cal, after she had
DMA.
woken up, went to go help calm Liren down, while Bilal went to go help calm Sorn down. And they couldn't really get Liren calm for a few minutes. She was just having a hard time kind of getting herself back together. Meanwhile, Bilal went up to you.
Bilal was having a hard time getting through to Soren because he's holding the body of a dead child in his arm.
So it was kind of a very dramatic event.
And then that's when, in order to get it really through to Soren to get him back to focus, this is where Bilal, for the first time to any of us, outside of Greg, picked this up when we were in the Tower of Worms because there was a magic check, or he
did hunter. He searched around for
any kind of mystical things. Granted, he had his in the Feywild.
So. Yep, and he looked for. He did celestial, and he found
it.
But yeah, so this is where, for the first time to the entire group, Bilal reveals that he is
an Aasimar.
An Aasimar.
Right.
Not just an ass.
So,
ASMR.
At that point, Cal kind of goes up to Devin, who's also kind of freaking out, slaps him, tells him to get his shit together, and as we're trying to get everybody to leave, we can start hear this rumbling coming from where the Bellington estate was, and we were very shortly after attacked by more clockwork.
So before we get into that scuffle, how did you feel about the ghost, coming back? Back streets, back, all right.
So the thing with the ghosts is kind of interesting to me because, as part of my subclass, I can't technically be frightened, but I always kind of play it up with that kind of thing because I think it's something that's like, it's more than just about like being afraid of something. I think it's something that's a little deeper than that. So when Cal saw the ghost, Cal was like,
No.
Cal was just like, fuck it, and just started running.
Because you were also without ghosts for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little while there, I wasn't seeing them. So I think having them suddenly return like that after an attack was
you've
very,
been ignoring the journal.
Yeah.
You've been mostly drunk for the most part.
Very drunk.
And successful on wisdom saves.
Yeah. So you were ghostless for a while. So I imagine just for Cal having all of them back in this one instant, in the middle of everything, it was like hyper,
hyper like that moment, like where like the ears are ringing, everything's like. Yeah. I know Liren, what still isn't used to the ghost yet, so it was like fatal.
How did Soren feel about dead children?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, how about them dead kiddos?
I don't know. How about the fact that he's sitting there sobbing and it takes a celestial to show up before he's like, oh, let me stop paying attention to that.
Stupid question.
I mean, we know that Soren has such a soft spot for kids. I mean, in normal play, there's been times where we're traveling and running into kids, and Soren's very big with telling them stories.
Hello, children.
Right. He's essentially like a fabled, he's the thing that kids hear about essentially in like stories and stuff. And he likes that kind of thing because, I mean, especially with like Viking lore, stories are a big part of that, which is why he's always happy to sit around with other people and talk.
Wait, Sworn's a Viking?
I know, right?
I had to rewrite everything.
Oh, no! I mean, so yeah, like to see these kids that, just 1 second before, it's like, it's one thing to come into a town and like see, like, oh, the graves of children or even, sick ones or something, but just to witness these, like, essentially bodies ragdolling.
Yeah.
You witness their death, and you probably feel like I should have been able to stop that.
Yeah, I should have been able to stop it. I should have been able to save more. Like, I mean, he has a handful of at least 3-4 people at one point, and all he wants to do is save more. So
the ragdoll effect. If you ever played like Skyrim or Fallout, any Bethesda game, when like you explode ragdoll, it's like that.
Auto.
And everyone just goes, "Wee!"
I think for Leon, the situation was like, what the hell have these people got me into?
I was supposed to stab one dude and run away.
I think he was very like shocked that he was put in this situation.
I'm surprised you guys haven't connected something, but I'll leave that to anyone paying attention at home or you guys for your brains.
Yeah.
So Devin and Cal kind of had an interesting little exchange because when Cal was running and Devin attacked her, he said sorry and then punched her to knock her out. And when Cal was trying to get Devin to get his shit together, she said sorry and then slapped the shit out of him. How did Devin feel about that?
Respect.
I thought that was funny.
Mad respect.
Like an old.
Cal was like, "This is payback."
They're like an old couple, just hit each other. To
Respect. He was just like, she knows. She literally just saw what I can do, but also she's still like, she's not running anymore. She's trying to get me into the zone so I can start doing my job. And he was like, respect.
Yeah. So I just thought that was funny.
Right.
So right after they agreed to leave, they started to become under attack by 3 drow, a couple swarms of clockwork beetles, and a large clockwork guardian.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Sword went right for that guardian.
Yep.
Big thing.
So Devin and the townsfolk started heading towards the outskirts of Humbleton while the party, did their thing.
Well, we should be said that the keeper did just dip right after
Yes,
that.
Keeper.
It wasn't like he was hovering around it. He was like,
which
boom.
was very fortunate because had he stayed, I think we would have been
Oh God, yeah.
totally
New
obliterated.
campaign.
He could have just landed on one.
But we made pretty easy work of the clockwork beasts, and right after that, the postman showed up.
Made easy work. Those swarms of beetles.
fairly-
Were all
Those
over
swarms
you.
were pretty giving you guys a hard time.
The swarms
with
were
that.
giving us a hard time, but all things considered, for all the fights that we've had to put up with, it wasn't that
You gotta love
bad.
it's the small swarm of beetles that was giving
They take you down and then they start crushing you, and it's like
we got Sword fighting a giant guardian by himself essentially.
Solo.
Takes
That's
it down,
your job, is
and
to
turns
fight the
around,
big
it's like,
guy.
oh, the bugs are killing the rest of the party. Oh,
Oh, friends, how are you? What?
I got the big guy.
Yeah. So the postman came.
they were ready for battle.
They were ready for battle, but
they
then we
were-
heard more rumbling coming from there, so we all decided to book it. To
You're
the
like,
outskirts
Right,
of
they were
town.
trying to figure out what direction. It was like, just get out to the outskirts
Yeah.
of town. We'll talk about it there.
So we all decided to meet back up with Devin, where the inn was.
The Hawk's Crest.
Which was on the outskirts of Humbleton. And Soren basically told the group, the
go to-
caravan, the townsfolk, to head to
Sonderheim.
Sonderheim. And to speak with Jeb, while the party decided to head to Dramek because they wanted to investigate more about Droppelman and
Or at
his
least
connection
take him down
to everything.
Try to cut at least some of the
Yeah.
clockwork.
And while at the inn, you met up with the Goliath, the bartender Bertha.
The owner of the bar, yeah.
Kind of had a small conversation with her.
Right, found out that she's a churro cocaine, meaning
Which is your
technically family.
Yeah.
Which is funny. She did you show up at first and she doesn't even ask. Like, oh wait, what are you? I was like, nope, she's got her own business.
Yeah, she didn't care.
But you
Right.
learned she'd also been banished.
She had been banished.
But you told her to.
I told her to go back to the Badlands to talk to Jeroen that the Goliaths should be getting their shit together. That I had one last favor after helping Mom, or at least in Soren's mind, he was like, I've earned enough.
one favor.
I have one favor, and pretty much he had wrote a letter with his signature on the bottom, and was like, Dad, it's Soren, what's up? How's everything? By the way,
It looked like a child wrote it, by the way.
yeah. You try to find a pencil the size of the hand of the,
right.
but he's pretty much like, I know I have the one favor. I'm not going to ask to come back, but we have a Goliath who has been ripped from her home after she's been banished, allow her back into the clan, and accept her as family again.
Yeah.
This is my last favor I would ask of you.
And what was that like for Soren to like meet like a member of your family?
Well, I think it was weird because like he had talked to Bertha before when they had gotten there, but he didn't pay much mind of it. He just assumed it was a Goliath.
At that point, you weren't really paying attention to your family.
That's a valid point. He was very since he was so closed off from his family after being banished. You know, it was
as a DM. It's pretty great when you write things like that, and then
Right.
it goes by unnoticed until a crucial plot moment where it's like everything's like.
Well, I think part of it as well was the fact that since when we first even met Bertha, that was the beginning of the campaign.
Right.
So we weren't even sure how much Goliaths were even norm in the world. So it could have been like as a player, I could have just assumed you just had a Goliath there and they were commonplace, or at least more they weren't as uncommon. Versus as we played more, we realized Goliaths stay in the Badlands, and I was one of like the outliers, and so then she was too.
But once again, that was like episode 1.
Yeah.
Like that was so we didn't really know kind of what we were doing.
What's
what
this
we were
guy
doing
do?
then. Yeah.
Right, so I think it's like just as
Yeah.
a character thing, it's one of those things where, Soren's happy because he has no illusions that he's not going to go home, or at least not anytime soon. He doesn't see he honestly doesn't perceive a world where his dad's like, come back home, please.
I miss you, my boy.
Right, so he's like, okay, I have probably one favor in me. As far as with Dad, I'm more than happy to help one more person, especially after seeing everything going on. He's like, oh, you've been banished. I know what that's like. And she's like, I have nowhere to go. He's like, yes, you do.
You're taking my spot.
Right.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah. And that's just kind of the character Soren is, whether it's the small acts or something like that, whether it's like giving a kid his bowl of breakfast in the morning so that he eats like gruel. He's like, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. So while they were at the inn, Bilal decided to crack a little joke to Leon about like, welcome to the party, man. And lo and behold, the brand of fox appears on Leon's
other
hand.
hand.
The hand opposite his curse scar.
It's great. It's wonderful. I love it.
And immediately Leon's like, what the hell is this?
What did you do to me?
Cal and Bilal decide to try to explain the whole situation with Fox, and the devil himself shows up.
Lo and behold, you speak and he shall come.
Right. So Fox shows up, tries to introduce himself to Leon. Cal's kind of like, no, my child, stay back. Like, don't touch the
You
evil.
don't know the evils.
And sort of off the cuff, the party finds out that Fox's name has 2 X's, and
Yeah, 'cause
Liren decides...
Well, he said he had 2 X's, and then...
Everyone started to snicker.
Well, Bilal had says like, wait, your name has 2 X's, and then Liren said something.
Why not?
Yeah,
just have
Liren
8?
cracked a joke. Everybody started laughing. So then Fox sort of got very pissed off at this.
He did hold person.
Tieflings are very proud of their name. Their name is something very important to them. So,
Yeah.
he cast whole person and decided he, augmented his nail and decided to make sure Lyra never forgot and whoosh, on the neck and did a boatload of damage.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage.
He also threatened her familiar, her little Cornelius, and said that he would make sure that he disappeared permanently if she ever cracked a joke about his name again.
Right.
Cal kind of tried to smooth things over, but Fox was not having it. He
done.
basically said, oh, because you guys are so ballsy, you guys, instead of having a full year to take down either Yengu or Mephistopheles, you guys now have 3 months less than what you started with.
Right.
And basically called them pieces of shit several times and then
Yeah, he did.
dipped out. The party decided that they were going to go after Yengu, but they now had less time to do so, which kind of
They at least knew his location.
Yeah. I think, what did you think about that whole interaction?
It happened.
Yeah.
It was just one more thing. I think in Soren's mind, it was just like, yeah, there's that.
I think that was kind of the moment that we were kind of like, maybe we can't kill Fox, because I know in Cal's head,
you were playing.
Because
with
I know
the
in
thought
Cal's
of it.
head, she was toying with the idea of what if we can like trap him or kill him or something, and that was kind of the moment where Cal was like, hold a second, wait, maybe not a great idea.
Then she's like, maybe I'll romance him.
No, I never said that. That was what you said.
Not in
I never
a
said that.
million, trillion,
Never.
billion, quazillion years.
So I think that kind of changed things for the party.
There was much more of that sense of urgency.
Yeah, and I know that Leon was like, well, fuck you guys. You guys got me dragged. Like, just like everybody else, like Greg had gotten sucked into it and Bilal had gotten sucked. Like, it was just like one more person got sucked into the party's garbage.
I know Fox was he was originally looking for just a nice conversation with you, doing like a check-in. Yep. You guys did some good saving people. He saw that. And then he did the one thing you're not supposed to do. And then he was not so happy with you.
Yeah. See, and I think the thing is like playing a tiefling, like I know about tiefling virtue names. So I was kind of thinking you probably shouldn't make fun of a guy for his name if he's a tiefling and it's something like, I don't know, Fox or Crafty or Kill or, something like that.
Right.
So to have the party kind of shit all over his name was probably not the best choice.
Wasn't the whole party.
I mean, to be fair...
One of you didn't say anything.
That was Sore, and he was
To
smart.
be fair, like, it was kind of funny, but, it was just a bad idea. So the following day, the Stormbreakers decided to head towards Dramek.
We didn't even wait the day. We left immediately, didn't we?
Yes, we left, and then we stopped, like, a little bit further outside the town. So
the next
day, we continued our journey towards Dramek, and the first few days around Humbleton was, like, eerily silent. Like, we didn't see a whole lot of people. Not very many. We didn't come across a lot of people, but about halfway to Dramek, we encountered a small group of fish makers. Would you like to explain them?
By fish from fish. They were Tritons. Their names were Sven, and Alexis. Yeah, and I can't remember the other one's name.
I know there was one named Derek, but he wasn't.
He was not Derek. It was
Derek.
Sven,
was a
Alexis.
half-elf.
Yeah, he was a half elf. There was Sven, their sister, and the brother who couldn't talk. His tongue was cut out.
That's right.
But yes, by fish from fish.
It was Tritons that were set. They were fish
mongers. They
mongers.
sold fish and they cooked, and they had a little slice of enjoyment after a very, 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 very tense situation where the Tritons were like, "Oh, you guys are the champions of Dramek. Like, we're gonna give you like cheap, big, like good fish for cheap." And then they saw a little bit more of how magic can be used in the world when Derek started to play his music and the fire started to light up and did different heat. Like,
there's that little bit of spice he likes.
A little spice, a little bit different temperature and things. And then he could stop playing his let go of the music, instrument and would keep playing.
Yeah.
And the sister, kind of realized there was more going on with Cal than anyone else. And Cal, though, was not having it.
No, Cal did not. So they had kind of had their own separate camp. And when most of the rest of the party went over there, Cal just stayed at their own camp. Because that's what Cal does.
Right.
And they kept trying for credit to them for inviting Cal over, but nope.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we took away from it was they were also anti-Droppelman.
Yeah. They had also been, I guess they were being chased out of Dramek.
Yep,
right, because Sven called him a stinky...
a stinky fishman.
A stinky fishman.
So they were running from Droppelman too, and they had been going towards Humbleton, which the party told them, no,
don't do that.
Don't
Try
do that.
Sonderheim.
Yeah, go to Sonderheim instead.
Trying to give Jeb some business.
So after they kind of, had a night with them, ate a lot of fish, they parted ways the next morning, and the party continued on towards Dramek. Another couple days go by, and then one night, in the middle of the night, Cal gets struck with an arrow. Wow. And fortunately, Soren and Leon noticed her struggling to breathe. Because it hit right in the lungs. They realized that they were under attack by a group of gnolls. We did manage to defeat the gnolls. Lyran managed to pull the arrow out of Cal's side.
I was like, I'm sorry, sis.
Yeah, which hurt. But we took care of the gnolls, and then we found a note from Droppelman asking the gnoll group to take care of the Stormbreakers.
Classic.
Right.
Yeah.
So we decided to keep the note. And after the fight, we kind of went back to sleep. But early the next morning, after everybody woke up, Fox showed up again.
This time he looked different.
He was not in his nice regal attire. He was in battle armor.
He was in, what was it? It was
It
almost
was
like
an
armor.
interesting cloak, too, that kind of made him seem blurry, I think is how you described it. But he also seemed very not happy, but not exactly pissed off. Just more like, I don't know.
Begrudgingly did things?
Yes, scorn child maybe a little bit.
Mom told me to do something.
And he kind of told the party that, he said, well, maybe my temper got the better of me, and he reveals to the party that he had taken a clockwork heart off of the gnolls. He even offered it to the party, but Bilal was like, we're just going to destroy it anyway, so Fox kept it. I don't know why Bilal decided to do that. I think we should have kept his mouth shut and destroyed it.
Well, that's because Cal wants the heart. I can see...
No, Cal doesn't want the heart. Cal thinks Bilal should have taken the heart and destroyed it.
Secretly.
That would have been the smart thing to do.
Does he have an acid type thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
I never remember.
He doesn't always have it prepared.
Okay, that's why I never remember it.
So Fox kept the heart, and then Fox mentioned to Cal that his mother sends her regards, and Cal told him kind of nicely to send her regards back to Mommy. And Fox said that he could help them from time to time, provided Cal give him more souls. Now, Cal kind of stupidly agreed at this point.
Once again.
Well, this is you trying to negotiate.
This was me trying to negotiate, because, like I said, after the previous meeting with Fox, Cal's kind of like, okay, well, we can't kill this guy, so maybe we
Can't
should
kill him. Join him.
Play, not necessarily join him, but I think the agreement was to negotiate. So maybe instead of killing exactly who he wanted, maybe next time Cal could be like, well, what about this evil person over here? Wouldn't you like their soul look nice for you? And, he said that they would bargain later, and then Fox left again.
Fox, I've come to bargain.
So I don't think that exactly made the rest of the party super happy.
So,
right.
How did it feel being targeted by Droppelman, though?
I think it was more of just like a change of plan. Because I think originally the plan was just to wander in, then try to get information. Kind of like we did with Bellington. But with this, it was like, okay, cool. He knows we're already...
He's one step ahead of you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, so we can't just waltz in
But I
there.
felt like that also cut out some of the middleman, because then instead of going and wasting time getting information, it was more like, we know this is our guy.
Right, we gotta kill him and find evidence.
Yeah. So it kind of made that a little easier. I think the next morning the party kind of argued briefly about Cal agreeing with Fox, but they were interrupted because Leon spotted an Eric Cochran friend. Poe.
Yay!
Walking along the road. So Soren was like, "Oh my God, it's Poe, friend."
And Poe was like,
and
"Oh God,
it's Soren!"
and ran.
So Soren used
activated his ring of jumping.
Like,
hello!
mad leaped in front of him, while the rest of the party sort of
Super
hid.
Mario.
Sort of hid in the trees off to the side. And Poe and Soren kind of had a little bit of a discussion, where. Basically,
it was more common goals. With
they were trying to kind of work together a little bit, because once Soren kind of let it slip that they were going to fight the Demon Lord Yengu, Poe became very interested.
And he was like,
and he was like, "Oh, can you help me get Yengu's soul so I can give it to my patron?"
I would love
Anubis.
that soul. It would look absolutely
well, he would love any
divine.
Soul in general.
But he was kind of reluctant to explain himself
Why?
on that. But Poe also brought up that he was looking for Grom Tag, and Soren was like, "Yeah, we should probably find Grom Tag. That'd be smart."
Yeah.
And Poe agreed to assist Soren into the city, and Soren said he would consider Poe's offer as far as getting Yengu's soul. And Poe gave Soren a calling card, a card basically that
literally was a card
lit on fire in order to contact him. So what did you think about Poe's offer for Yengu's soul?
Well, I think it was the fact that there was the miscommunication because Soren said it was like, "Oh, we need to go take down Yengu versus take him down a peg."
Right.
So I think there was a little bit of like Poe had jumped the gun as far as like he should have.
I'll kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, but like at the same time, Soren's just like, well, if we get rid of his soul, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, Poe has been relatively fine. Like he's a little brutal, but he hasn't been like outright evil. He's been pretty anti-evil, and he usually understands people that do things in the name of their god. I mean, it's Anubis, but it's no real different than other ones. I mean, you look at Soren's like, yeah, most people see Thor as like war and Viking-y stuff. So it's like oh, Anubis could be just as well as misinterpreted. It's like he may be a god of death, but it may just be a god of death, not necessarily evil. As
they learned the next morning, because Soren relayed the conversation, Bilal let the group know that Anubis could actually use the souls to gain power over death. And the party kind of agreed that they weren't exactly too thrilled with that.
Way to go, Soren.
Yeah. So the party headed towards Dramek. They met Poe at the gates. Poe also agreed to help sneak Liren into the city. He wasn't
she's not
gonna.
that
He didn't like Cal. He wasn't gonna mess with Leon or Bilal. So they were on their own. But he got a cart basically and helped Liren and Sorn sneak into the city by hiding in the cart. Bilal shaped into a tiny snake, curled up on Cal's shoulder, and then the two rogues did what they do best and snuck into the city. Which we killed that slink slot.
You did.
We did a great job on that. And they started heading towards the last known location of Grom Tag.
Right, where Sorn and Liren made it there first before Poe was like...
You guys made it first to find that the house had basically been burned
to the ground.
right.
And you guys basically tried to look around, look for clues. Eventually, Liren used shape water to wash away some ash. And when she did that, the water, she kind of realized that it sort of was sinking in a place, and they found a trapdoor.
Right.
So they tried to open the trapdoor. About that time was when Bilal, Cal, and Leon got there, so they all snuck into the house as well. And when
walked over to the big
Bilal
flat area.
and Liren tried to open the door, two dark tendrils kind of started going after them the first time. And then once Leon actually broke the lock, the dark tendrils grabbed Bilal and Liren and started pulling them down into
Which
a
they both
pit.
failed to, the save, to be like,
Yeah.
no!
And then not thinking, just acting, Cal grabbed the rope out of her bag, tossed it to Sorn as she held the other side and decided to dive down into the pit after
Great.
them.
It was wonderful. It was everything a DM would want in a situation that was high stress.
It was great.
Until Sorn
Didn't catch the rope.
Catch the rope. Wait, what? No, wait.
What rope? Oh,
So,
no!
in my defense, Cal tried. Fortunately, there was a ladder running along the side that Cal could kind of like grab onto, which dislocated the shit out of her shoulder, but it was fine. Bilal had tried to get out, so he wound up wild shaping into a large eagle, and then that broke him out of the tendril's grasp.
Couldn't fly. He just tried to use the wing resistance to get out of it.
And then he tried to get Liren out, but that didn't work, so instead he went underneath her to help break her fall when they hit the ground.
Because, that's technically a whole second health bar to take.
Yep.
But so they hit the ground, and the tendril actually kept pulling Liren further down into a hall. So while Sorn, Leon, and Cal
we're coming down the ladder.
Coming down the
Sorn and Leon were
ladder.
like, should we go down? We should probably go down, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So the tendril kept dragging her down, and Bilal could see that it was dragging her towards another pit. Well, it was at this point Bilal decided to basically deactivate the magic, which...
The spell.
Right. Would have solved a lot of problems, and the tendril released Liren
right before the big spike
right
pit.
before the big spike pit.
I fell in the pit.
And they could see on the other side of this pit, once they all got down there, that there was a door. They also saw inside the pit there was a little gem that both Leon and Liren were interested in. Liren even sent Cornelius to get the little gem.
To which he fell and got spiked.
Yeah, Liren was like, go get it, Cornelius. And then Cornelius was like...
Cornelius was like, "Hey." And then disappeared because familiars,
Yeah, the familiar Feywild can't die. Now she's just finished. So I was like in the bag. He was unhappy.
But so we went to the door, knocked on the door, and Grom Tag answered. So congratulations, we had found Grom Tag.
Congratulations, you found Grom Tag.
He opens the door. What the damn hell?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
He seemed kind of surprised to see the party, but he was already aware of the situation in Humbleton. We lit the calling card on fire to get Poe to the location.
Gromtag was like, good, I was hoping Poe would find me.
And once Poe arrived, it was kind of mentioned that the party had to deal with Fox, which Cal was promptly blamed for, as with everything.
Which then Gromtag immediately flipped out and spent a few moments casting a barrier, in the room so they couldn't be scryed upon.
Yeah. And Cal also let it slip that Fox might have been the one who burned down Gromtag's house because Fox had asked Cal to kill Gromtag at one point, which Cal vehemently insisted that she declined. There was a little bit of an altercation. Gromtag asked how Fox even knew about him, which I didn't actually think that it was Cal's fault. I don't remember, but it probably was Cal's fault.
It was Cal's
too.
fault.
So he used their magic to kind of shield them from Fox's view. And they started to discuss the events. They talked about kind of everything that had happened with Fox leading up to that. Which
They noticed they had a new member in the group.
Yeah, there was noticed that Leon was there, and Gromtag recognized Leon's name and asked him to remove his mask to see his face, which Leon refused. And Cal, who was already like, well, he's pissed at me. Let me try to not make him pissed. Try to use her mage hand to remove Leon's mask. And as she did that, Leon cast Misty Step behind Gromtag and put the daggers behind his back or his side.
The sides.
And Gromtag reacted by using his claws to dig into Leon behind him.
And they were poisoned.
They were poisoned. So that was another brief little argument there.
New party members, gotta love them.
Yeah, it was interesting. Things kind of settled down. Poe and Gromtag kind of agreed to help the party take down Yangu, provided
there was some clarification. It was like, oh yeah, we
don't need to kill. We just need to take him down.
Right.
Get rid of his avatar.
Agreed to help the party take down Yangu, just knock him down a peg. And the party helped to amass an army to do so. Bilal agreed to Poe's deal, but let him know that they weren't going to attempt to kill the Demon Lord. That they just wanted to kind of knock him on his ass a little bit. And the rest would have to be on Poe if that's what Poe wanted. Poe kind of accepted that. Gromtag also let Cal know that her mother was still in the city and would kind of pass the message along and kind of push her to go talk to her. Mm-hmm. So I think that there was a couple tense moments in there, but eventually we kind of worked through them. We kind of took a short rest while we were down there in Gromtag's little hiding spot. And that was when Soren has suggested using himself and Lyran as distractions because Soren's a big guy and they're the Stormbreakers.
Well, he knew he wasn't going to be sneaky, but he figured if he can pull the attention away, like if there were people hunting, the Stormbreakers, he could at least get the focus on them in the middle of the day in broad daylight.
Right.
And in the focus of people, they weren't going to outright attack, but
good thought, good plan.
Yeah,
totally would work.
Totally great plan. But he decided to use themselves as a distraction so that Cal, Bilal, and Leon could kind of sneak around and look to find Cal's mom, Dalmine. And as Gromtag's protection spell wore off, Cal received 2 messages in her journal, one from Dalmine that was kind of letting her know where she was, and as the message was writing, it was also erasing, so that way it couldn't be tracked. And the second message was from...
Dear old Pop.
Dear old Daddy. Basically, like, how dare you, hide from me? Very angry.
Good Dad.
So
he just was worried about you. He wanted to know if you were going to make it back by curfew.
Why didn't you answer your cell phone?
I'm sure he was so concerned.
You're past curfew.
So they went ahead, they enacted their plan. Soren and Lyran walked very freely and were instantly recognized as heroes of the Colosseum.
They were drinking, Lyran got
while the other 3
drunk.
stealthed their way to the Wonder Emporium.
Wesley's Wonder Emporium.
Where Cal's mother was posing as a librarian.
Posing as a worker, but managed the bookshop area.
So Bilal and Leon decided to buy some supplies so that way Cal could talk to her mother in private. Cal and because she found Dalmine in the Emporium and she showed her a secret staircase behind a bookshelf so they could go upstairs to talk. It was kind of a difficult face-to-face meeting. This was the first time Cal had seen her mother in years.
In her cognizant memory.
Yeah, it had been a long time.
Been a while.
So Dalmine explained how she had made a pact with Tidavillis in exchange for a child, I guess is what he wanted.
Yep.
Demons and children, who knows. But that he'd kind of become like a monstrous thing and wanted to use Cal for his own nefarious means. And Dalmine explained that she needed to leave Cal for Cal's own safety, which Cal was like, that's bullshit because he's still coming after me. So Cal wasn't having any of that.
Dalmine was surprised, but also angry at that.
Yeah, Cal was not very nice to her mother during this conversation.
Cal was downright bitchy.
Yeah, Cal was pretty venomous. She kind of felt needlessly abandoned and stated, like I said, the Tidavillis had found her anyway. Dalmine also explained that she had made a pact with Azazel in order to break the pact with Tidavillis. Azazel is another demon lord, because we need more demon lords in our life.
Demon lord, he's just a higher-ranking demon, close to demon lord.
But he'd helped her break the pact with Tidavillis. Cal kind of explained everything that had happened to her, partially in a way to kind of make her mother feel a little guilty.
Jerk move.
Yeah. A little bit. And, Dalmine kind of made a comment that she was upset about, the whole selling souls to Fox thing because she had worked so hard to make Cal's soul blessed and pure, and that was very confusing for me. Cal, of course, was like, whatever, souls.
My soul is not pure.
She basically advised Cal not help Fox unless they're like not so innocent souls. She also tried to explain that Titavilus was Lilith's grandson, making Lilith Cal's great-grandmother. Which also means Cal and Fox were related.
Cousins!
Yeah, right. He's like great uncle or something like that.
Family trees, gotta love them.
Yeah, so they decided that they were going to stay in touch. Dalmine revealed that she had a journal that she could use to communicate not only with Azazel, but also with Titavilus that she could use to hurt him, which kind of intrigued Cal. Cal mentioned that she had her own journal, which Titavilus communicated with, and the two decided to swap journals. Now, when I initially decided to do that, I think Cal was like, oh, there's a journal that can hurt him, like not realizing, of course, that it was Dalmine that was hurting him, not actually the journal. Cal really
Dalmine's a little bit stronger than... Cal was like, my mom can't be that strong.
So they decided to switch journals, and as they did, Cal kind of felt like instant relief, like whereas Dalmine just felt like intense emotional pain.
It was like a 2,000-pound jacket was taken off of you, and then Dalmine put it on.
Yeah. So the interaction was kind of it was kind of difficult because there was definitely like a lot of like I hate you, Mom, but also
you don't understand.
But also kind of like okay, maybe you're not so bad. So after that, she met back up with Bilal and with Leon. The trio met back. Then they all met back up with Sword and Liren in the tavern, where
Leon was very happy with his new cloak.
Liren was very drunk.
Liren was very drunk.
And Cal kind of explained the conversation with her mom and mentioned to Liren that Titavilus was her father, who is also the one who adopted Liren.
So they were sisters.
So that was kind of like a little cathartic moment for the two of them to kind of figure out how they were actually connected.
Right.
The party decided that the next best course of action would be to find Droppelman, who was sending assassins after them. But before they could form a plan, Cal kind of noticed somebody trying to pickpocket Soren and decided to follow after them. That turned out to be a not so great idea. Cal lost him in a crowd. And when she was trying to make her way back, she realized that the note that she had implicating Droppelman that he had given to the Knolls was missing.
It's great when you just throw out that fishing line and there's like, hello!
Right. I'm sure you just really enjoy that. So she had formed the party. They were like, oh, Cal, why? They continued to discuss it. And then they were attacked by a changeling that we have encountered before.
They thought we're dead.
That Cal thought was dead. That everybody, I think, was it just me that was there for that situation? Yeah. So Cal thought she was dead during an attack that they had out in the Badlands, but it was Trish. She wound up not being dead. So Soren, Bilal, and Cal followed her, while Leon stayed at the inn to keep an eye on a very drunk Liren. He helped her get back to the room, basically put her to bed. The other three chased after Trish, but also wound up losing her too. She just disappeared.
Well,
from them,
you forgot you guys bust into a room and there was a maid going like, would someone just walk
she
through? What's
basically
going on?
tricked them.
It was great. Changeling, man.
Yeah.
Well, because we did insight and
Nobody rolled high enough for that. So they went back to the inn, and the next morning they split. The party split up, where Bilal, Leon, and Cal went looking for Droppelman or to find out where exactly he was or information about him, while Soren and Liren decided to go look for Gildine.
Right. And before we left, Soren pulled Leon off to the side and almost had like a heart-to-heart thing because he was stuck in a situation he wasn't meant to. Soren already didn't really trust him, but he was trying to make it so that the two most unlikely people, because Cal was being buddy-buddy with Leon because they had the rogueness. She was almost like being like a den mother to him for some reason. Like,
welcome to the pack.
Where Soren was like, you just tried to kill one of our friends. I don't like you. But I think it was one of those things Soren was realizing is like, we can't just keep being enemies with each other. Yeah. He understands, especially after the whole thing with Fox, where he was like, I won't kill anyone who doesn't deserve to be killed. And to find out that's what Leon's curse mark pretty much has him do. He wanted to try to find common ground and build a rapport. So like he and Leon were trying to become friends before they left. He was all right. I'm trusting you with my friends while I go off and do this thing. And again, just trying to find common ground. Because again, this group...
Just trying to make the group work together,
Yeah.
basically. So as Sorn and Lyran went to go find Gildine, they found him outside of an orphanage?
homeless shelter.
Homeless shelter.
Because we had found that he had been...
talked with him very briefly, and then were attacked by
hyenas.
Hyenas,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
Which
because
are
we had found
lesser
that he
gnolls.
had been ejected from the Colosseum.
Right.
He was no longer the champion. He had pretty much been outrun.
Drop him and had taken away his sword.
Oh.
Yeah.
His big fancy
So they were attacked by hyenas. So that started a little
A big
ensuing
chase.
battle where they used the rooftops of the surrounding buildings to escape. And started making their way across the rooftops towards the Colosseum, more or less. Meanwhile, the other three were sneaking around, and they ran into an old man who Cal had seen when she was trying to chase the person who was
Trish.
trying to pickpocket Sorn.
Well, we assume it's Trish.
Who turned out to be Max, one of the postmen in disguise. And he kind of led them into this secret
Little room
in the alleyway.
Kind of like a hide hole,
Yeah.
like you'd use if you were like a moonshiner. You'd have like a little like a room you go into.
Yeah. And there he kind of gave them some helpful potions that they could use to help sneak into the Colosseum. So they got the potions from Max, went back to headed towards the Colosseum, where they eventually ran into Lyran because they had seen some of this going on and were like, oh great, that can't be good. So they gave Lyra the potion to kind of help herself more. Meanwhile, Sorn
It's still running on the roofs. They're usually like...
successfully running on the roofs.
Because Goldine's
Ring
like,
jumping.
go! He's like, all right, bye!
So he kind of managed to get into the Colosseum on his own that way.
No, we got to mention something before that. We have to mention. I'm not letting.
Oh, okay,
That
we
horse.
won't. But first, bear with me for a second. So they also ran into Gildine, the rest of the party, who helped sneak them in through one of the merchant lines to sneak them into the back way to the Colosseum. Now, if you would please like to explain this story, because it's hilarious.
So at one point, someone's doing really well with that athletics and using the ring and jumping across roof to roof to roof, across for like large streets. But then he didn't roll so high once. And so he fell to the street, well, a back alley, and some kids were playing and went, Jumping Man! And then Sorn, in just the biggest panic, he didn't want to push through the kids. You know, there were about 5 different ways. He was like, can I jump over the wall behind me? And I was like, as a DM, I have my map, and I'm like, yeah. And so he doesn't jump on top of the roof or on top of the wall to see what's around. He just goes up and over. You specifically said, jump up and over.
Yeah.
And
because I imagine if I had to jump on top of the wall, because I imagine it was going to be very thick, I would have had to roll with disadvantage.
You will never know, because you jumped and went straight through that thatch roof, being a giant Goliath that jumped and then gravity. And would you like to tell me what you landed on?
I crushed a horse.
Straight up did. Because how heavy's Sorn?
I don't remember off
I
the
don't
top
know
of
why
my
I'm
head.
laughing.
A lot.
So. I love horses. I'm not laughing because I don't like horses. I'm laughing.
You jumped and just went, boom, and then that horse went, hello, goodbye. That horse did not last long. And then, because it was a giant ruckus of...
It's a very technical sound.
Yes.
The man who owned the stable was like, Winifred? Winifred, what's on? What's going on? And Sorn, covered in blood at this point because you crushed a horse. You didn't say, excuse me, oh, I'm so sorry. You just went, I'm out of here. And you did like the sponge off. And then you just ran. And he was like, Winifred, no! And you just ran around the Colosseum. And when you showed, everyone was like, why are you covered in blood? Why are you covered in blood?
Ask questions later.
So they all eventually made it to the entrance of the Colosseum.
It's fantastic.
And when they were trying to sneak in, they were spotted by a young guard. I believe it was Sorn and somebody else was spotted by a guard.
No, it was
the other
Lyran and
three had
Galdine.
already. Yes, Lyran and Galdine were spotted by a guard. Everybody else had already snuck into like a locker room.
You snuck into the locker room you met before the fight.
And so once he got in there, they kind of at first tried to trick the guard, but then decided to more or less intimidate him.
They tried to
They were going to
persuade
kill him first.
Right.
You tried to persuade, that failed. Then you got him in there, and then you straight up restrained him.
Yeah.
And then you were like, stop freaking out, stop freaking out.
And this kid was like, crying and like he'd peed his pants and he was like, "It's my first day on the job," and like so we tried to calm him down and we tried to convince him we're here for Droppelman, like you got to know this guy's shady. So we'd eventually managed to convince this guard to kind of help us out and agree to help us get into Droppelman's office. And this was where things went really bad. Because as the party decided to make their way to Droppelman's office, because the guard said he would let them in, they walked through the Coliseum, which was the most direct route,
with the less
started to sneak inside, and then eventually they were trapped inside the Coliseum as Droppelman and several clockwork beasts, and the guard, who turns out to be Trish, the changeling, she basically tricked them.
Right.
Tricky Trish.
Which really pissed me off.
Right, because this is where no one did an insight check.
No one did.
No
one even questioned.
And so,
it was. I didn't even have to do anything. It was flawless.
And the problem was because Cal was trying to turn a new leaf, and I think
Cal was trying to be nice.
I think Leon was doing the same.
Yes.
So neither one of them thought to even question it.
And that's when they learned time and place, and maybe when you're on, being hunted by assassins and a man with clockwork things, maybe you should be a little more cautious.
I can honestly say that was Cal being like, "This is what happens when you trust people. It will never happen again. Ever."
As a DM, I kind of blame you guys.
Yeah. No, we definitely should have made insight checks.
You guys
100%.
You could have found
I think
out.
it was more like, "Oh, this poor kid's like pissing himself." Like...
acting.
Right.
So
right.
Patrick Stewart would be like, acting.
So that's kind of where we leave this story off.
We were in the Coliseum. It was a cage that came.
A cage went out.
Yeah,
an aura
with
went
the
around the
little,
cage,
like,
and all the doors went. Except for the doors we fight things from. Those
and we will find out on our next episode exactly what was in that Coliseum with us on our last prologue for Roll for Bluff, which is going to be Collision in the Coliseum. So we will see you guys next time for that.